Hello and welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubani. What a week we've had. The number of confirmed cases of the coronavirus globally raced past 3 million, gradually nearing the 4 million mark, while the number of dead is gradually nearing 300,000. But there is some good news, as the number of recoveries would most likely be above 2 million by the end of the week. Back here in Nigeria, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Jeffrey Onyema, has been hard at making plans to help evacuate Nigerians abroad who wish to return amidst the pandemic. According to the minister, the first batch of evacuees should be arriving this week from either the US, the UK, or Dubai.
We just have to do the first one quickly, then we will learn lessons and so forth. You know that it's absolutely important we get that first flight here. And and I am telling the team, the technical team, look, listen, let's just get a date, Monday, next Monday, and just do everything possible to make it for that date. You know, there are going to be other challenges. These hotels want to be paid way in advance. Our arrangement is that the passengers will have to pay for them, and so that mechanism, is something that we'll have to work out. But in any case, as I said, to answer your question directly, we've put a date of Monday, and we're going to do everything humanly possible to try and get that plane here first. And then by God's grace, we will then be, on a roll from then on in. But there's still a lot of challenges, but because we know the dire situation of a lot of these people outside the country, we're just going to give it every single thing we have.
Let's not forget the evacuees or returnees are expected to pay their tickets directly to the airlines, and missions articulate the information with details, including those traveling as family members. Evacuees are also expected to undergo a mandatory 14-day quarantine upon their arrival in Nigeria at designated facilities or isolation centers. And before travel, the missions, in conjunction with the airlines, are to ensure that pre-departure infection prevention control measures are implemented, including temperature checks, as those with temperatures above 38 degrees Celsius will not be allowed to board the flight. There would also be visual observation of passengers, and those with COVID-19 symptoms will not be allowed to board. There must be provision of hand sanitizers to passengers for use at the door of the aircraft before boarding, and returnees must have their face masks on before boarding and have them on for the duration of the flight. As you may already know, with the number of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria at the moment, especially in Lagos, the commercial capital, there are not enough bed spaces, and the government is looking to hotels in Lagos and Abuja and good-spirited Nigerians to give up their homes not in use to be used as isolation centers. The Lagos State government has just commissioned isolation centers, though, at Bagada General Hospital to help ease the situation. Now, all hands must be on deck to prevent the infection, and that includes playing your part, maintaining social and physical distancing, washing your hands regularly with bar soap or any soap, using hand sanitizers and wearing face masks, and keeping hands away from the face. The United Nations, through its various agencies, has been working to help nations with efforts at preventing and curbing the coronavirus and making sure that other opportunistic illnesses do not become a major problem. In my chat earlier with the President of the General Assembly, Mr. Tijani Muhammad Bande, he told me about these efforts and his thoughts on the coronavirus. UNGA President, Mr. Muhammad Tijani Bande, thank you for joining us on Diplomatic Channel. How would you assess global response to the coronavirus pandemic?
There have been efforts of countries and regions to begin to talk together, and the leadership of the World Health Organization is also key. We do have the necessary protocols that are reviewed naturally. As we know a bit more, then regulations will change. For now, I think all countries listen to what the World Health Organization is saying, and as it gathers data and ideas, which it shares with all of us. And the United Nations have made multiple calls to deal with the pandemic whether in relation to ending conflict or ceasefires during this pandemic, or in galvanizing action to deal with vaccines, vaccine development, and also access to vaccines when developed, plus mitigation efforts post-COVID-19. And the House is not closed. We do not have in-house meetings except a few meetings that are necessary in the office of either the President of the Assembly or the Secretary General or other critical organs. But there is still a beehive of activity concerning ideas and even virtual meetings involving countries and institutions. I think this I can tell you firsthand, a lot of work is going on. And for the United Nations, country teams led by resident coordinators are also doing a lot to work with countries to begin to understand and to help address the issues that are urgent, that are also emerging. No country has opposed the efforts of the United Nations or that this is something that requires global response. We get this every day. Where is it we can have laboratories occasionally are collaborating with laboratories in other parts of the world. We have scholars in touch. We have supplies that are brought in from different parts of the world to support efforts in countries. I think this tells you a lot is being done cooperatively, regardless of what you hear in the media concerning disagreements over countries. In practical terms, people know they must cooperate, and they are cooperating. This is our focus.
The World Health Organization has expressed concerns about the spread and the impact of the coronavirus in African countries and the people. But then with all of these donations that Africa is getting, plus interventions from developed countries, do you think there's still reason to be concerned, even though African leaders are implementing measures to help curb the spread of the coronavirus?
I think no African country is waiting, as far as I know, for anybody to solve this problem. But because it's a pandemic, it is the right of countries to request assistance where they have a need for such assistance, be it in the procurement quickly of ventilators where there is need for such, or in relaxing some of the rules to allow this to happen. But no country on the continent is waiting for anybody, but it is a global effort. And Africa is not like other countries begging the community of nations. All nations are putting this as a common effort. And some bilateral support has come, some bilaterally, but there are also pooled resources through organizations like the United Nations to join the common effort. I think this is what is happening. The AU has very clear rules. ECOWAS has also had its own rules, and other regional bodies that are active on the continent are doing the same thing. And they also are very well connected to the World Health Organization. I come back to World Health Organization because it is really the authority we must all listen to, because this cannot be a regional effort alone. Regional efforts and national efforts are key. But then, because of its nature, we do need to have common understanding as anchored by the World Health Organization.
Now, you mentioned lockdown restrictions, and in many countries, that also means that formal work has been affected. In fact, some people have lost their jobs as we speak. So talk to us about how these restrictions are then affecting the UN's operations as well, with the headquarters being in New York, the epicenter of the coronavirus in the US.
The United Nations continues to work as it has to. But obviously, like countries, work is different. Most of the work we do is done virtually. Some of us occasionally must, of course, go to headquarters to do at times necessary coordination. that cannot be done easily virtually. But what we have done as an assembly is to agree new rules via a resolution to allow us negotiate and put discussions under silence procedure to allow for decisions to be taken. It's a challenge because the normal back and forth of negotiations that is the means by which consensus is reached in the General Assembly is somehow affected. But still, we have in fact cleared several resolutions and decisions where the new rules were crafted. And we are also sharpening the tool to allow us, should the lockdown continue to work and take decisions as we would have done during regular in-person meetings. But yes, in terms of the tempo, obviously it's a completely different United Nations, which is a beehive of activity. It's really not only we are part of a city which is on lockdown, and we have been for some time, and will be on lockdown until the 15th of May. And even at that, it will be, whether that will be opened after will be subject to a proper review of certain parameters. But come back to your question, the United Nations continues to work. It has to work because it must deal with crisis, current crisis, and also deal with emerging crisis. And this is why we are creative around it in terms of the meeting that can hold.
Speaking of functions at the UN, the General Assembly is scheduled to hold in September of every year. Will that be affected by the coronavirus pandemic this year?
We will have to review whether, when the time comes, we'll have to review whether the opening will be in September, mid-September, or if it is to be in person, whether September is feasible to allow heads of state and government to come. It is important that the meeting is given robust attention by heads of state and government because we are waking up to a new world. And the thinking of heads of state and government, member states of the United Nations, is really important. And the debate, whatever the theme of the debate, must take into account the new reality we are confronting as a global community. Therefore, the options will be reviewed as to whether the opening will be in September as usual, and if it will be whether in-person meetings are feasible, or if not, are we able to have virtual meetings.
What lessons do you think are most important to learn during this pandemic?
I think the lessons are the lessons that remind us of our connectedness, and that poor and rich countries or individuals are no better. They are just part of the human family. And we are connected in such a way that the health and well-being of one must be the concern of all of us, as individuals, as regions, and as nations. And therefore, any relapse into isolationism or into hate will harm those who push isolationism or exclusion.
When we come back after the break, the hypothesis and theories of the coronavirus, as well as whether or not easing lockdown restrictions is a good thing. Stay with us.